Welcome to the Thunder Nerds. I'm Frederick Philip von Weiss, and we want to thank you so much for consuming the show again. Really appreciate it. And today we have a really special show. We have two of the team members from DevFest Florida. And if you don't know DevFest Florida, you're going to hear all about it. We have a really amazing show all about this conference, which is a yearly conference, I believe, and we'll get into all the details. We have Hendrix Tavarez and Michael Rosario. Welcome to the show, guys.
Oh, thank you, Freddie.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it very much.
Yeah, really appreciate you guys joining us on a Saturday afternoon. And from the looks of it, it does not, and we'll get to this, audio listeners, but for the visual listeners, it doesn't look like you're actually in a home or an office space. Where are you guys at? What are you doing today?
Yeah, so we're live from the NASA Space Apps Challenge in Orlando, being hosted at NeoWare Studios. So we had this wonderful opportunity to partner with NASA Space Apps Challenge and kind of bring Google Cloud Platform tools and ideas and helping our guests just be more potent, like with their hackathon solution. So we're having a great time today, just providing mentorship today.
Cool. You got anything to add to that, Hendrix?
Yeah, behind us and the other room, there's a room full of people right now hacking into Google Cloud APIs and NASA data and trying to build, find solutions for some challenges that were provided by the NASA team. So it's really
Wow, NASA data. So what are we talking about? Are we looking at like spacey stuff? Are we looking to find the gray aliens on the moon? Like what kind of googly things are we doing with NASA?
So this event is sort of a collaboration with NASA Space Apps and Google Cloud. So we're doing a Google Cloud Study Jam kind of mashed together into the hackathon. And so what we're saying is, hey, while you build your solution for the hackathon, consider using this API from the Google Cloud team, which lend themselves really well to solve problems in machine learning, anything cloud-related, big computations. It's very helpful.
Oh wow, that's so cool. Okay, I can't wait to see what comes out of that. And that's neat how you guys are both mentoring that. But what's I know we're talking a lot about this one, but we have another conference that we need to discuss. But first, let's build up a little bit of context for our audience. Do you mind? Maybe we could start with you, Hendrix, and then we'll go to you, Michael, providing a little bit of info about who you are and what you do.
So my name is Hendrix Tavarez. I've been in Florida for about 3 years now. I organized a Google developer group of Central Florida. We also organized the DevFest Florida, and we did our last event January 19 at Disney. We're doing it again now in November 16 here at NeoWare Studios. It's a very interesting space because it's a sort of open co-working space, but we also collaborating with the Oviedo Mall and several businesses. So it's going to be a really interesting experience as far as tech conferences go. We're really looking forward to see all the speakers, all the we have people traveling from all over the world coming to this event. It's going to be real fun.
Yeah, we'll deep dive more into that in a second, but let's also ask Michael. Tell us a little bit about you. What do you do, Michael?
Yeah, I've been working in the web for over 20 years and totally love being able to serve in that capacity. I currently work for a company called Design Interactive. We're all about awesome training and empowerment of people using innovative technology, and especially kind of in the mode of augmented reality and virtual reality systems, kind of specializing in medical and the industrial spaces. I'm also a Google developer group organizer with Hendrix, and love being able to give back to the community. I feel like all of us as organizers, we feel like we've had mentors along the way who have been awesome in helping to shape our careers and move us forward. So this is our opportunity to just really give back to the community and whatnot.
That's awesome. So let's now talk about the conference. What exactly is DevFest? Let's explain it for people who have no idea, haven't heard about it before. What is DevFest Florida?
DevFest Florida, I will kind of, the first thing that comes to mind is community. And speaking of community, I got it since we sort of, Michael and I introduced ourselves. I must introduce kind of the pieces behind us. Like, we are the face now, kind of sort of talking to you about it, but there's a lot of people that put a lot of hard work into making it happen. And here I have Javi. Say hi, Javi. He's one of the organizers as well. He's here helping us with the Cloud Study Jam.
How's it going, man?
So I said, stop by, say hi, so people see, we're not the only ones doing this. There's tons of people behind us. But anyway, go back to DevFest Florida. This conference is, we call it a magical conference. And the reason we said that is because we want to do things a little different. One of the things that we want to add to the conference is sort of a mesh into, big rock star IT speakers from companies like Google, Microsoft, IBM, and kind of bring them together with our local talent. We are all about our community and our local talent, so we want to make sure that they also are part of it. So typically half and half of our speakers are kind of big name rock stars that come from other places, and a lot of it is also local talent that we want to make sure they shine because they are good as well.
That's a great conscious decision on your part. I love that, because not only are you bringing in some people that everyone might want to see from around the world, but you also are pulling those people that know the community, are in the community, active in the community, contributing to the community. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, if I could just add to that too, and build on that. So, I mean, something that has been kind of named in our community over and over again is that we need to speak to the startup narrative also of what's going in Orlando. So, I mean, in addition to talking about mobile and web and all the solutions in that space, we're also trying to talk about, like, so how do you sell the mobile app? How do you make sure that you have the right culture built into your team structure? How do you have a startup culture even in established businesses? Trying to really, like, one track of our conference is really just around that startup narrative of how do we grow Orlando startups and, give them the leadership structure that they need.
That's great too, because you also have the perspective of those leaders within our community. And then you also, on the other side of the coin, have the perspective of leaders outside of our community to bring a different perspective, if you will.
Yep.
A lot of value there. So what about the audience? Who is this for? Who's the audience?
So by and large, it's a Google developer group. So it mostly is going to be designers and developers. But because of our location and some of the partnerships we've engaged, I'm excited that we're going to have some mixing and whatnot of developer audience connecting with startup leaders as well. And trying to really just create those friendships and relationships that, again, help move Orlando forward.
Interesting. You're talking about designers and developers. Could you elaborate a little bit more? Like, for example, maybe we could discuss who you have within those two realms. And is that a 50-50, a 70-30 split? What does that look like?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe we could come to that as we kind of like talk about content in the different tracks. Would that be okay if we
Fair enough. Sure. Yeah.
did
Whichever
that?
way you want to go.
Yeah. But I mean, by and large, when we get to that point, we have fantastic content for if you're a mobile developer, web developer, and that also just like looking at new types of user interaction that we aren't often discussed in terms of we're approaching the point that like voice interaction, your home assistants and whatnot, have reached a profound maturity and being able to design well for those instances. One of our speakers from Microsoft is going to actually be speaking to like the edge of like being able to do mind control sort of interfaces, and so totally, we're kind of pushing the edge of and speaking to what's possible.
That's really cool.
I will add that this particular DevFest is really interesting because we are hosting at a co-working space, and we adding for the first time a track dedicated for a startup and businesses, where there's going to be talked about from how to manage your team to how to kind of start up and raise money and that sort of thing. So kind of
do you mind if we? Sorry, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you, please.
No, so it's one of the new things that we adding for this DevFest, especially since we are the co-working space where there's going to be a lot of businesses being hosted here. So it's going to be super special because we're doing a very conscious decision of picking kind of the right mix of talk for that particular track.
Do you mind talking about the co-work space? What is the co-work space? If we could discuss them a little bit.
So the name of the company that have this space is NeoWare Studio. They are I'm not too familiar with their history, but they host many companies here in the Oviedo Mall, as well as very interesting kind of business proposition for all the businesses within the mall, in sense that they provide from AR or augmented reality apps to anywhere to supporting their website and their technical needs, business locally in the mall. So, and aside from that, they also have other startups that are hosted here. So we tap into that and say, hey, you know what? Let's invite sort of the business community and put them together with this kind of tech conference that we have, and the developers and the designers and that sort of thing. So it's very, very special for us this time.
I love that. If somebody wants to find out more about them, obviously we'll put a link in the show notes, but what's the URL? What's the best place to find out about that co-work space?
Where Mike was finding it.
Yeah.
We'll provide that.
Yeah. Googling for neowarestudios.com, neowarestudios.com.
Perfect. Great.
And I would say that their staff is extremely authentic in terms of just wanting to see their members succeed. And I've been to some of their pitch nights. Like a lot of their content has just been really awesome. It's an awesome way to kind of like learn from other tech entrepreneurs and help move you forward. And maybe you're not like a full-fledged startup. Maybe you're a freelancer and you just need more community and connections. You're looking to grow your network. I can't say enough of good things about NeoWare from that standpoint as well.
I love that. Before we jump into these different tracks, because I think it's really interesting to explore that, what was the catalyst for this additional track of startups? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, literally we were doing some analysis of kind of our meetup conversations, and everyone, kind of had some element of startup kind of documented in their profile. And we were like, we haven't spoken to that at all. Like, why? Like, and you know, if we even look at conversations in Orlando Devs, there is this neat like discourse going on of just like, yeah, I'm a guy who is the Steve Wozniak. I'm really good at tech execution, but I'm not necessarily good at the business. And then you have the business community over here, you know, moving those conversations forward. You know, from our standpoint, we just want to try to help bridge some of those connections. So that's one aspect. I know for me personally, I've been nerding out to a book called Startup Communities, and it's a really good essay of just like how startup communities flourish. And it really talked about like how organizers of meetup communities can be more intentional of breaking down barriers between these different silos that typically happen. As Google Developer Group, we typically talk about how to build the app. We talk about the angle brackets and all that nuance. So, but you know, if we really want to change the economic conversation, we have to also talk business too, and create more of those positive relationships there.
I love that because there's so many instances of people having these great ideas and they bring them to fruition and they have a product, but then don't know the business side or possibly didn't think about the aspect of selling that product and bringing it to market. So something like this, I think, is going to be super successful, and I could see so much value in that.
One of the other things that we are in this particular track is that if you already have a existing startup or a business and you kind of managing your team, there's a very interesting talk that I'm sure you like. Is from Janelle. You know Janelle pretty well. She's one of the Tonaners from last year.
Pizarro, yeah.
Pizarro, yeah. So her talk is very interesting. I love the title because the title is "Leading Lady, Leading a Team with Happiness," and I
love that.
I know her and I see and I know how energetic she is. Like she brighten up the room and
Oh
I'm
my God,
really
yeah.
looking forward to that particular talk because I know that there's going to be a lot of interesting nugget there.
Let me just say, even if you go and to see Janelle speak, just meeting Janelle in person will brighten your day in 2 seconds because she is an energetic human being. She has this most beautiful laugh, and she is just filled with knowledge. So if you are lucky enough to talk to her for 2 minutes, you're going to walk away feeling great, and you're going to learn something. So yeah, big shout out to Janelle. I'm excited to hear her talk.
That's going to be an amazing talk, and I'm really looking forward for that one.
Yeah. Do you mind if we now discuss? So we talked about the startup track. Let's talk about the other tracks. Can we go into say what they are and then go into a little bit of detail about those?
Sure, I can take that. So if we take a look at our mobile track, it's very machine learning colored in general. So we have talks kind of around kind of bringing machine learning to the edge. Some team members actually from Google kind of coming in and sharing about how machine learning can be incorporated into your apps, whether you're just leveraging Google APIs or you're training models yourself. Google Actions is Google's general API for voice interaction. We have 2 talks connected to that, which is kind of weird. Why would you think about voice interactions in the mobile track? But you know, when you think about how influential these devices are becoming and being able to interact with them in brand new ways, or the idea that you know what, I really shouldn't be touching my phone in a car now. What other modality are you going to be able to talk to it or to control it? You know, speech is becoming even more important as well. For those who love the Kotlin language, we have Matt Dupree kind of talking about implementing neural networks with Kotlin.
Oh,
And of
wow.
course, we have to talk about our love affair with Flutter in our Google developer group. I'll let Hendrik speak to that one, but of course, we also have great content around Flutter as well.
Go ahead, Hendrix.
We have a great talk about Flutter. I think there's one or two, maybe two. Um, there's also a Googler coming from the West Coast to talk about sort of the latest UI features in Android 10. Um, this Kotlin, there's building stuff with native and on mobile. So there's a lot of exciting stuff on the mobile track. We have Roddy. Roddy Davis. He's one of the kind of our best speakers on Flutter in this area. He's coming to talk about Flutter and how he's using some of the or leveraging Flutter to build web, desktop, and mobile apps for a startup that he's building with Anita, one of the organizers, called Ashton. Really, really cool story there.
I love that. That's so interesting. And I love the point that you brought up too, Michael, with the voice technology, because voice is becoming so just everyone has these high expectations for a voice, whether you're on Android or Apple, where people say, "Oh, Siri's all." Well, technology is just catching up. It's really interesting. I mean, I know Google's leaps and bounds in voice past Apple, but it's so cool, and I think there's going to be so many interesting things we could do, and I love the whole mind control thing. That's going to be a great talk. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about that. So we have the mobile. And we have the startup. What is the other track? Do we have a lot more, or is there one more?
Yeah, we just have one more, and it's our love affair with the web, of course. So we'll start with David K. Piano, as he calls
The
himself.
Khurshid. Love
Yes,
David
yes.
Khurshid.
So he's our mind reading with adaptive and intelligent user interface talk. He always blows my mind every time he does what he does. I mean, he's just a great expert, and I would say he's an artist too. I would say when he gives a talk, it's extremely artful how he. Of course, he's speaking, typically around JavaScript, but I expect great things from that talk. We also have, for those who are security minded, and we have Jen Tong from Google, help keep the internet safe with web authoring. We have some great content around serverless containers with Knative and Cloud Run. So that's Mate from Google again. I will say that in general, I think Hendrix and I he's very blessed in that, like, when we compare notes with other Google developer groups, we the fact that we have 5 Googlers coming to our conference is just awesome, and that we can just kind of hear directly from experts. How do we talk about architecture and move our apps forward? It's priceless being able to do that and offer that to our guests. Trying to think. Lee Warwick from realtrek.com. He's going to be doing some great content around progressive web apps. So that's the idea that I already know Angular and React and maybe Vue. There's simple things I can do to what I already know, and avoid the app store, but still give the app experience. So he's going to be speaking to that as well. Any other shout outs that you want to mention, Hendrix?
I'm thinking about Lee Warwick because he's one of the well connected in the Orlando community. I've seen his talk at ODEPs and other meetups, and he's a great asset to the community here in Orlando, and very well liked among everyone. And the fact that he's joining us and sharing some of his knowledge is fantastic. So we're thrilled to have him.
Love that. And let me just step back a few steps. If anybody doesn't know David Khorshid's show with Stephen Shaw, you got to check it out. It's Keyframers, and I want to make sure I have the URL exactly correct because it's a little different. It's keyframe.rs. Very clever, Keyframers. It's a really cool live show on Twitch where they do a lot of animations where they pick stuff up that's from Dribble that people make in like After Effects, and they make it all in CSS. Have you guys seen it yet?
Yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I love those guys. Every time I watch that, I'm like, oh my God, what a great solution. It's so cool to be able to see somebody think through the process live and then have something beautiful at the end. So cool. So these tracks, again, we have startup, we have mobile, and then we have web. So this is pretty all-inclusive. You're going to be able to come here, come to the event, DevFest, and really from the web to mobile, and then take your product to market. You start your business. It's a really fully, I don't know another word to say, inclusive, all-inclusive kind of experience. And you also mentioned, though, you have some design kind of things as well, some design talks. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I mean, from the standpoint of like, we're talking about, the voice UI and, like just, trying to kind of speak to that narrative of designing our apps, not just for the normal UI that we usually think about. That's kind of what it was speaking to and whatnot.
Oh, gotcha. I see. Okay. So how long has DevFest actually been a conference? What year is this? And when did it start?
So 2016 was the first DevFest conference and whatnot. It started as a collaboration between the various DevFests of Florida. So, joining forces from our GDG from Tampa, GDG in Space Coast, which is kind of located in Melbourne, and our founding member, Christy, from GDG Orlando. Yeah, so this has been a movement that's been going on for some time. It's an opportunity for the community to have a voice. It's an opportunity for, our community to gather together and try to make a difference in our cities and whatnot, and do it together.
So I love that. And how long have you both been involved in this?
So for me, it's been about 3 years that I've been involved with DevFest. First as a speaker, my first talk was around doing web VR using A-Frame by Mozilla. And the last 2 years have been kind of contributing from the back scenes as an organizer.
Yeah, so this is the fourth DevFest Florida. I've been contributing since 2017. I was a volunteer. And then when I moved permanently, I've been sort of in the back scene and just as Michael, organizing things.
I see. Hendrix, you're actually from Brooklyn, is that right?
I live up New York.
New York, okay. Which part of New York? I thought it was Brooklyn for some reason.
So I was living, before I moved, I was living upstate New York, but I live in the Bronx and teach in the Bronx at a college there.
Okay, yeah. Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So we keep saying GDG, just for people that don't know the Google Developer Group. Do you mind? It's probably a little bit of good context to communicate what that is and what it represents, if either of you could take that.
So GDG stands for Google Developers Group, and it's really a community of tech-oriented individuals with similar uh, light in terms of tech and together and sharing their knowledge and kind of feeding off each other to kind of move forward in their career, learn new things, and that sort of thing. And the fact that we are sort of Google is in the name, it just means that it gets its own support. Like there's a whole infrastructure on Google that support the DDG program, and that allow us to maybe have some swag to our events. Maybe help us with getting food when we get together. It's not only about Google technology, but our bigger sponsors and they have already this program in place that help us create all these events.
I love that. Sorry, I muted Michael for a second because I was getting some echo from you there.
No worries.
So, yeah, maybe we should talk about, and thank you. I appreciate you providing that context because I'm sure there was a few people going, he keeps saying that, but what does that mean? How did, how is this conference different? I know we keep talking about all the value and how amazing this is. How is this different from other conferences? Like, how do you explain the difference to someone saying, I heard about this. This sounds amazing. Can you tell me what I'm going to get from this that's different from maybe another conference? What do you do different?
So the typical conference that you go to is usually is because your company bought a ticket to that conference. Most likely they bought a ticket to that conference because it's very expensive. The typical tech conference goes anywhere from a few $1,000s to like a lot of hundreds of dollars. $500, $600, $1,000 something dollars. And what makes us unique is the fact that we go through a lot of effort, you will not believe, into making sure it is a conference that you're not here because your company pay for it and sort of send you there. You're here because you like the content that is here, you want to be here, and it is affordable for you to be here. So we go through a lot of hoops into making sure that the price point to our conference is one that a new developer, a student, someone just sort of starting out, or even working at a company and the company don't send them to a conference. Well, this is the conference that you could afford. Come in, and you're gonna get the same expert that you will get anywhere else plus more.
What do you mind speaking to those price points?
So for this time, we have student tickets for $20, and the regular tickets are $50, which is very, very affordable. We had early birds, which was $25, but those went really, really fast.
Yeah, I imagine. And also, if you want a ticket, I think this is probably a good opportunity to mention that at Thunder Nerds, we have some tickets that we're giving away, and we're going to be giving them away soon. Not on this episode, but very soon, at the end of October. We have the first ticket we're giving away is if you at DevFest and at Thunder Nerds on Twitter and say, I want the ticket, you are automatically then entered into our ticket drawing. So we'll have a random raffle live. You'll be able to see it's going to be random. We're just going to use some kind of randomizer thing. And you get a free ticket. So that's coming up in the end of October. We also have another ticket that we're giving away. And if you go to thundernerds.io/win DevFest now, and of course we'll provide the link to that in the show notes, you could win a few things. This is a pretty cool contest. I'm really excited about it. So you win a ticket to the conference, right? You win a ticket to be at the live speaker dinner the night before the conference. So on the 15th, you could be at the speaker dinner. You get to actually sit and speak with the dinners, talk to them, dinner's on them. And it's a great way to interact and get a feel and maybe a little bit behind the scenes and have a little bit of camaraderie. It's gonna, if I could say that word right, it's gonna be a really fun event. And to sweeten the pot even a little bit more, you can guest host with us, the Thunder Nerds. So you could sit right next to us and help us ask some of the speakers questions and get to know them. And it's going to be a really cool prize. So again, go to thundernerds.io/win DevFest now. And all you need to do is provide a little bit of a video, at least 3-minute video about why you want the ticket, what you like about DevFest, and you'll see all the rules there. So check that out, and hope you win. We're going to be announcing those soon, so that's really cool. And really appreciate you guys providing those opportunities for us and the audience.
So another cool thing that not only do you get to the dinner, and that is paid for, so you get a free ticket to the event, you get a free dinner, you get to meet the speakers, but also the organizers. And speaking of organizers, we have one here that wants to say hi to the community out
please.
there. That's
hey.
Anita. What's your name?
My name is Anita. Can you hear me?
Yes, Anita. How you doing?
I cannot hear you, but I'm glad that I jumped on this video call to say hi.
Hi, Anita. What do you do, Anita? Ask Anita what she does, Hendrix.
What do you do at DevFest?
What do I do at DevFest?
Yes.
So,
go ahead.
One-man show. Hi. Since I don't know if Hendrix told you, but we're kind of overlapping with our responsibilities. We're kind of building everything from within the team. So maybe they will say that I'm mostly in charge with design and promoting the event, but then Scrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
We try to go and grab some tasks, help our team members. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. How long have you been involved with the conference, Anita? Sorry to interrupt you, Hendrix.
Okay. No, I said everything you see in that looks nice on social media she did it.
Yeah, everything you see that doesn't look nice, it's Hendrix.
So how long
love
have you been with DevFest?
So since last year.
Since last year.
Yeah, since last year I moved here in Florida, and it was Hendrix that introduced me to this amazing tech community, and then it opened up so many doors for me, and then I just need to give back to that, so it's amazing.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about what you do. Really appreciate it, Anita.
Bye.
Right.
Take care.
All right. Cool.
I think Anita brings up a really valuable point here, and I'll ask you both. Maybe Michael, you could speak to it first, and Hendrix, you could touch on it as well. Is that the value of actually going out to being involved in the community is so big. I mean, we could virtually go on Twitter and answer questions and things like that, and there's all these great communities, and I'm not devaluing those virtual communities at all, because they're very important, but it's also paramount to go to these things, meet people, actually interact with human beings, maybe shake a hand. I know that's scary for some, but it's really important. You're going to get some great connections. We were just speaking to a guest on Thursday, Femke van Schuhoven, and she was talking about how she went to a conference, and she puts out stuff on social media, and just by making some relationships via going to some of these things, that she got a great position from that, or at least a great lead to get a position from that. And I think a lot of people could pull a lot of value from that. Not just I'm going there to see if I could get a job, but authentically make some great connections with actual human beings, people that could either be mentors, or people that you could in turn mentor, or people that could just be a virtual mastermind, that you might start a relationship with someone that's doing the same thing as you, and you could have an actual human relationship and talk. It's so important, and I don't think we speak about that enough in the community. Maybe Michael, you could touch on that first.
Yeah, I definitely agree that having face-to-face contact is so meaningful. I love being a blogger for years, and sometimes when you hit the post in WordPress and it just goes out there, you just wonder, did I actually touch anyone? Whereas like acting as an organizer and helping to facilitate community, it's very special to just kind of like know that, hey, there was this little nugget that we shared at this meetup, and it gave this guy an edge in his interview. Or maybe we just helped him with an Angular problem. That kind of like, it's very rewarding I think from our team to just know that we're really serving people in that way.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah, one way to think about it is, imagine you own a house and you get to go to some meetings where you meet people that know how to fix things when they break in the house. They know how to fix your garage door. They know how to fix the door. They know how to paint. They know how to all these things. And they're there just sharing that knowledge with you. And you're like, huh, I could do this. And you as well contributing, because maybe you have some knowledge that maybe someone in the community don't have, or maybe they do. But anyway, when you come to these meetups, when you come to DevFest, when you come to events like this, you end up meeting people that have the similar interest as you, and you gain a lot from them, and you kind of add a lot of value to them as well. So it's a really fulfilling value for both individuals.
I love that. That's well said. And, not only meeting the people actually attending and all those people, if we're talking about DevFest specifically, but also getting to meet these people that are speaking and interacting with them and picking their brain. It's not that they're going to speak and then run off on, on their G5 and fly to Europe. They're there to actually interact with you. You could go up and talk to them. They're actual human beings. They're authentic people. So that's a really cool kind of thing to think about too, is that not only are you getting to see them speak and talk on a subject that's valuable to you and dear to your heart, but you can actually have one-on-one human interaction and pick their brain a little bit.
Yeah,
that is so true. That is so true.
Yeah,
I know. I have a question for you, actually. If I
please, I love answering questions.
So like, this is a little bit of a curveball, but like, so do you think that
I got my bat.
maybe, do you think that it would be of value for, all the meetup organizers to come and just encourage kind of like more the mastermind group concept that you mentioned, this kind of encouragement of, okay, we just had this conference. We just had this great meeting. But now, how do I make sure that I'm moving it forward intentionally? Do you think there would be value in that?
Absolutely. I think a few different things come to mind right away. Is some kind of community that one could join, whether that's a Slack channel or something that's like DevFest 2019, and it's all about the things to where you could go in and you could ask questions based on that particular year event. Maybe, as we were talking about some of the different technologies, what can I do with this? What can I do with that? And how does that work? I know you spoke on this and blah, blah, blah. And then to have those speakers interact and provide a little bit of commentary back and forth, that kind of intimate community is so helpful. And I would love to be a part of that myself. And I think the other part of the statement that you made about a mastermind, and if anybody doesn't or hasn't heard that concept before, it's kind of where you have a group of people that you get together and you kind of trade ideas back and forth and you pick each other's brain. And if you're not a part of one of those, I highly suggest it. But yeah, some kind of virtual mastermind to where people could get together again, like a community, something like that. I don't know what that looks like off the top of my head right away, but if we put a good few hours in thought into that, I think you'd be providing a great service. Sure.
Cool.
So one of the things that we talked about all the values of DevFest, the tracks, mobile, startup, and web, and the great the speakers that come to it. but I think we are forgetting a very important value. I think one of the greatest value that this conference has, and is that we're lucky enough to have the Thunderners come in and sort of share that experience through a bigger audience, to kind of open the door to so people that are not here, and even for those that are here, could catch up on the conversation that they missed. Because I think you guys do an amazing job of not only talking about tech, but also I think the slogan is the people behind it. And
That's
by
right.
having those sort of intimate conversation, if I'm at DevFest and I sort of didn't, I didn't get a chance to talk to David Piano, and then you interview him, then I could listen to that, and I'm like, it's almost like I have that conversation, because you will likely be asking the question that I will ask him myself. And that is very powerful, and it's recorded, and you could go to the website and catch up with it at some point. But that's a great value to the conference.
Thank you. I appreciate you bringing that up. And if you don't mind, I'll take that opportunity to kind of append to that. Is first off, we're very honored to be part of the event again this year. It's, as I said in the beginning, it's one of the events that we truly adore and we are always so excited to come to every year. Yeah, we provide a service where we cover a lot of different conferences, specifically as we're talking about this one, where people might not have the ability to make it, whether that's something within life or they can't afford it for some reason, or they can't get off work, and we come in, and even the people that are there, we provide something that's a little different. We provide a little bit of an insight into the speaker. As you said, Hendrix, it's a conversation with the people behind the technology that love what they do and do tech good. We want to know what drives these people. We want to know their passion. We want to know why they got into these different things. So again, specifically addressing DevFest, we want to know a little bit about their talk. We want to kind of not, tease it. We're not going to give away everything, because certainly we don't have the time within the interview that we have with them, but we want to communicate a little bit of what that is, maybe help get the word out, get people interested, and provide a little bit of insight of what those things are to help spark some ideas. And then on the second part, we like to provide a little bit of context of who the speaker is, why they do what they do, why they're at DevFest, and really help provide a live eye, if you will, into what's going on at the moment. And we have all those posted on our YouTube channel and on our website, and those are also converted into an audio podcast as well for who wants to consume them that way. So we love to provide that service, and that's the way that we give back.
Yep. True testament is that last year, with organizing a conference of this size, I was busy, to say the least, but there was, I communicate with the speakers and, all throughout the process. But during the event, there's not much opportunity to do that. But I end up catching up all the interviews that you guys did last year, and I learned a lot from speakers, people that I've been talking to, that you have this kind of magical ability to have them to kind of relax, get them in a different mode, and talked about things, what they do on vacation and something like that, how they come up with this idea of something that they're working on. And that was really, really insightful and interesting to me. And the fact that you guys are coming and doing that again is amazing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. I really sincerely appreciate that. Yeah, that's what we strive to do, and I think that's the mission of this show. And we really want to help people understand that everyone is human. Everyone puts their legs on puts their legs on. Excuse me, my faux pas. Everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time, and we try to help people understand that it's important to have heroes and people and heroines and people to admire, but don't put them on a pedestal. They're on the same level as you. We a lot of us have things that are challenging. Like we have children. I have a 4.5-year-old. It's hard to find the time. Other people have a thing where they work 2 jobs. We all have that thing, right? And it's important to remember that so do these other people. We're all people. We're all humans. And it's important to remember that they did it and you could do it too. And this is how they did it. And maybe that could provide a little bit of inspiration for you to find a path for you to be able to make those same accomplishments. Now, I know we're getting really close to the end. We got about 8 minutes. So I'd like to ask you both if you could provide us maybe some kind of closing statements that pertain to what people are going to get out of the event. What should someone have, say, as an expectation? If I am someone coming to the conference, what am I going to get from the conference? And then maybe something else that you might want to also close with. And now I'll let you go first, Michael.
Yeah, so you're going to learn a lot of fantastic content that's going to put your career at advantage. And I would say we learn hard and we party hard too. So come out and join us. We really look forward to that relationship and that time together.
And if you don't mind me just appending a small point to that, not to interrupt anyone, but it is a really fun event. We talked a lot about all the value proposition here, but it is a really fun event and everyone has a great time. It's what you would expect out of having a fun Saturday. Like you are going to have a great time at this, and the food's always really excellent too. So yeah, well said.
Yeah.
What about you, Hendrix?
I will add to that I will use sort of stories that I heard from previous event. You will meet people, Googlers working on a specific technology. For example, we had a Googler working on Flutter last in January on our last conference, and I heard stories of people kind of moving towards using that technology, getting a job, becoming expert at it, and going to do talks and participating in other conferences. In fact, one of our speakers is such a story, but I will let you guess or be surprised when you see her here. But it's one of those fantastic stories that we hear all the time. We have people that come to our events and meet other people and kind of build those sort of connections and kind of that help you move forward, whatever you're moving in life, where we have someone that, changed career and within the span of 13 months, I think that's what I heard last time I spoke with this person. They won't going from doing non-IT related job to working at Universal or some other company doing IT work and being paid twice as much as before. So that sort of things happens in these sort of events. Aside from that, we make it fun. We're gonna have an after party. Michael, you want to surprise everybody what the after party is gonna be? Where's the after party gonna be?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we should.
What's going to be there?
Amazing games.
Amazing games.
Yeah, we did fireworks at the last DevFest. We'll be making very explosive things, and we'll just leave it to your imagination.
Ooh, I'm excited. That's going to be great.
Is there going to be like virtual reality and stuff, craziness like that?
Man,
Did
that's
I say too much?
No, that's good. That's good.
All right.
Oh, I'm excited. This is going to be so much fun.
I'll leave it at that.
Before we close out, I want to ask you one last thing after I make a quick statement that if you want to learn more about DevFest Florida, please go to devfestflorida.org. Again, that's devfestflorida.org. And on Twitter, it is DevFestFL. So at DevFestFL. And we'll put a link to all those things, obviously, within the show notes. Gentlemen, we're right at the end. Is there anything else that you'd like to communicate to the audience?
I will see you at that fest. We will have tons of fun, and make sure to follow instructions to participate for free tickets and to be part of our speaker dinner. Free food, free conference, and amazing people to meet and learn from.
Yeah, just to echo, like we're looking forward to you being a part of the community, and we generally are excited to help grow Orlando startups and freelancers. It's going to be awesome, and yeah, we just thank you for being a part of the community.
Where everyone is going to have an amazing time at this conference. And I just want to say on behalf of the Thunder Nerds, thank you both, Hendrix, Michael, for joining us and spending a little bit of time with us on a Saturday. I know that's it's not always a easy thing to find some time on a Saturday afternoon. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for all that you're doing to grow community too. It's awesome. And we're cheering you on.
Oh, thank you. Really appreciate that. And thanks everyone for watching. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned. We got another show coming up really soon, and we will catch you later on.